So next we need to think about how we're going to do the remainder of the infill portion. So again, as I mentioned, draw the center or atrium area first to make sure everything fits. This is the area that includes your restrooms, elevator, mechanical room, corridors, entry, exit, etc. You need to allow space for your stairs. We're not ready to put stairs in yet. We have not set our floor-to-floor height, so do not put your stairs in yet because they will not be correct. If you're going to have a straight run stair, you need to allow about 4 foot by 38 foot. If you're going to use a U-shaped stair, you will need about 10 foot by 20 foot. This allows it to meet the code requirements. We can modify these once you place the stairs in them. Keep in mind the width clearances, the riser height, and the tread depth. If you do not need to place the stairs at this time, as I said, this is a placeholder. Review the IBC code stair requirements, and also your stairwell enclosure is to be a 1 hour rated wall. If you recall, in the previous video I went over the 1 hour rated wall construction type. If you need to, go back and review that. The walls around your elevator are going to be 1 hour also. It can be block or it can be stud with gypsum board. But if you do block, remember on the outside you're going to have to add a layer of gypsum board so that it has a nice finish. The walls of the elevator will be continuous and will create a shaft, so they need to go to the roof. So do the stair walls. They all need to go to the roof because they are a shaft. You'll need to research elevator dimensions and clearances that are required. Don't forget the elevator equipment room has to be adjacent to the elevator on the first floor. You can find elevator Revit files by manufacturers, Revit City, and I'm going to show you an add-on for Revit that you can get an elevator. At this point, you're not again putting the elevator in, you are only allowing space for it. So make sure you read the IBC code about elevator requirements. The elevator shaft, as I said, will be a 1 hour rated wall and will go to the roof. And again, don't get really detailed on the elevator, just make sure you leave sufficient room. The restrooms. Be sure that you're providing clearances as required by ANSI/ADA. You do not need to put fixtures in at this point unless you want to add them to make the layout a bit easier. If your toilets or plumbing are back to back, you must include a chase, 1 foot 0 inch minimum interior clearance. If they are not back to back, then the wall that the toilets or plumbing are on needs to be a 6-inch stud wall. That is not rated. Do not forget to refer to the Bobrick toilet layouts that I gave you in the PowerPoint. This will make it much easier. Also think about the restrooms that we have in our building. Again, you have the same number of fixtures, etc. Draw the remainder of the interior walls as required by the program. Do not forget that you have a 10% plus minus on all space requirements and building overall square footage. I will be checking this. If you are over or under more than 10%, you will lose points. Insert doors, both interior and exterior, except for the curtain wall. The curtain wall has to have a specific type of door in it, and when we do curtain walls, we'll go over that. Revit provides a lot of doors. Some of the families include bifold, double, pocket, sections, garage, vertical rolling. In addition, many more are available online from manufacturers and from Revit City. The default template you started with only provides the single flush group in the doors category. If you want to insert other styles, you will need to load them from the library. The reason for this step is that when you load a family, Revit actually copies the data into your project file. If every possible family was loaded into your project at the beginning, not only would it be hard to find what you want in a large list of doors, but also the files would be several megabytes in size before you even drew the first wall. So again, they don't provide everything loaded into your particular project, but it is available for you. If you want to start putting windows in, again, make sure on your doors and your windows that your head heights are the appropriate head heights. In commercial construction, door heights are typically 7 feet. If you want to go with some taller doors, make sure they're at least sufficiently taller, like 8 feet. Don't go over 9 feet wherever you're going to have a ceiling, because it will show the ceiling if you do. Same with windows. You can start looking at adding windows into your project. That's not necessarily required at this point, but again, you need to start thinking about what the exterior of your building is going to look like. Make sure you add the room tags and show the square footage on all the areas. Every space, corridor, etc. should have a room tag. Again, I showed you earlier how to do the room tag. So let's go back and look. Say for instance, and I'm just going to come in here and I'm just going to draw some walls in. And these are probably not the right kind of walls, but that's okay. I'm just going to draw some spaces in here. As far as room tags go, what room tags are used for typically is one, to help you locate spaces on a plan, but the other thing is so that we know how to do the finishes in that particular area. So if I look at my lobby area here, you see I have a space here, I have a space here, here, and down here, and then of course I'll have my vestibule space. So I would need to tag all of these because architects and interior designers, we don't like to paint every wall the same color. So I would need a tag here for this area here. I would need a tag for this area here. I would need a tag for this area here and for here, and then of course in each of the rooms. And then I would need one that goes along here. That way, if I wanted to paint this wall a different color from this wall, I have a way of identifying that. So again, you need a room tag in everything. Also, do not forget, when you get done, you're going to have a lot of open space in each side of your building. That is to be expected. If you recall, we went over the systems furniture that will be placed into these spaces by whomever leases it. As I said, you want to have a lot of extra space within your building. Things that I will be looking for. I will be looking for wall types. I will be looking for wall heights to make sure they are correct. I will be looking at doors to make sure they are the correct height and swinging in the correct direction. Remember that you have to have the door swing in the direction of egress travel. So I will be looking for those kind of things. I will be checking your square footages to make sure that they're within the 10% requirement. How do I do that? The easiest way for me to do that is over here with the schedules. So right over here I have a door schedule. If I click on this door schedule, you'll see it's going to show me all the doors that you've put in. So what I will look at is this height right here. Say for instance one of these actually came in and I wanted it to be 8 foot instead of 7 foot. Or say you had it at 6'8" instead of 7 foot. Instead of having to go back to the plan and find all of these doors, I can just go into this schedule and automatically change it. It's a lot easier. If I'm not sure where I have this door at, if I click on highlight and model, it's going to show me where that door is, so I can know which door that I need to fix. Same with the window schedule. If I go in here to the window schedule, now I see that the window width is 3 foot and the height is 4 foot and the head height is at 7 foot. So say I actually wanted this head height to be at 8 foot. I can go in and just manually change it here. Say I want to look to see where this window is actually located. If I click on highlight and model, it'll show me which window that I'm looking at. So that's how I check your drawings. I do the same thing for the walls. So for example, if I go under view and I go to schedules, schedule quantities, and I scroll down to walls and say okay, then I can pick and choose what I want to show up in my schedule. So typically I want to see what the family and type is. I also want to know what the top constraint is. And I want to know what the unconnected height is, and I want to know that the width is. This will tell me if you have the wall drawn as you have it labeled. So if I say OK, it's going to create this wall schedule for me. Now in this wall schedule, I can do some sorting, and typically what I like to do is sort it by family and type. So over here, you see I have sorting and grouping. If I click on edit and I say I want to sort by family and type, and say OK. Now it put them all in the right order. So if I look here, I can see that these are all the same, which is good. I can see that I have several that are 4 1/4, and if I stretch this out, you'll see they match, so I know that you did them correctly, named them correctly. This one's 4 7/8, so that is correct. This is 7 1/4. These are 8 1/2, and these are curtain walls. I can see that any exterior wall in my curtain wall needs to be up to the level parapet, and it has the correct height. And then everything else needs to be the 9'6". So say one of these walls was actually in here at 8 foot 0 inches. I don't know where that wall is at. So I would need to come in here and again find it in my model and say, oh yeah, that's supposed to be that, or that's not supposed to be that. And then I can go back to my wall schedule and continue on. So this is how I will check your drawings and the things that I will be looking for. I would suggest that you create these schedules yourself and check them before you turn in your assignment and make any corrections that need to be corrected. That covers everything on this page. At the very bottom, it says, in the next part of the project, we will refine our plan by adding furniture, stairs, elevator, and define our spaces more thoroughly. So now we need to go back and actually look at the submittal for your assignment. That is first floor preliminary plan. And if we click on that, it says, once you have completed the preliminary drawing, submit a PDF of your drawing and the Revit file. Make sure your PDF and Revit file are in the correct file location in your OneDrive. I should not have to go to your OneDrive, but in case there is an issue, I can do that. Be sure that you've included all required information on your drawing. I will not grade if everything is not labeled and noted correctly. Note, all rooms and spaces are to be labeled. Let's talk about printing a PDF. One of my pet peeves is getting a print or a PDF that is too small for me to be able to do my markups on. So if you go to the printer and you do current window like it is and you do a preview, you're going to see that it's going to print outside of the elevation marks. So I can move this elevation mark closer and this one closer. And now if I go to print and do a preview, you see it now made a much bigger print. So make sure that you make it big enough that I can see it. The other thing to remember is that when you're submitting, you need to submit your PDF and your Revit file at the same time. If you submit the Revit file and then come back and submit the PDF will overwrite the Revit file. So make sure that you are attaching both at the same time. If you have any questions, be sure to let me know. As I mentioned earlier, we will be moving on to the infill. Hopefully I will have new videos up for that very quickly. Have a good day.